Tune in now to the hottest sports podcast, 910 Sports. 910 Sports. We discuss the latest topics in sports, interview the athletes from all over the country, known and unknown, while spotlighting the youth of today and tomorrow with host Icon E, Mr. Personality Jacob the Great, Crystal, a.k.a. Miss Wildfire, KB the Amazing, and Steve O, a.k.a. Mr. All Everything Georgia.
What's going on? What's going on? It's your boy Icon E. And here on season 2, episode 4. I want to thank God for another opportunity to be here. Y'all see how I can just, saying this remote situation because we have an internet issue sometime when I'm out here in the country. Especially when I'm not in a hotel or somewhere like that to film the show. Or whatever. But anyway, man, I want to thank God for another opportunity to be able to come on here, chop it about some sports. We're gonna get into different topics. I promise y'all we're about to get back into more interviewing too, or whatever, interviewing different artists. So we definitely we gonna have somebody on next week or whatever. We definitely gonna get back into interviewing more people as we get closer to football season. And once we get to that point, a lot of the sports stuff will ramp back up or whatever. So we're going to definitely have, a jam-packed lineup of people on and whatever like we did over the last several months or whatever. But anyway, I'm going to get into it real quick, man. So what I want to talk about real quick is I'm not going to get too heavy today because we're going to talk about some top 5 positions in football and maybe basketball, but and different things of that nature. So we're gonna get into some conversation like that this morning or whatever. But what I did want to talk about was this whole. I'm not gonna get into the whole trade scenario with Russell Westbrook. As far as we already know what's going on with that situation, you know what I mean. Either he's gonna get traded or he's not gonna get traded. But I do want to say this. I guess the latest was LeBron James and Russell Westbrook was at the summer games or the summer league games, and they were sitting apart from each other. One was sitting on the other end of the court, the other was sitting on the other end of the court, and it was kind of like a tense moment where they wasn't speaking to each other and side eyeing each other and all that kind of stuff. And I want to say this: anytime in business, when you're dealing with somebody on a business level, things can get real. Okay, what's going on? What's going on, man?
What's up, Icon? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, man, you doing all right? Good morning.
Good morning, brother. So, what I was about to get into, man, was that I'm not gonna get. I know we're gonna talk about the top 5 positions and things of that nature this morning, but I did want to address. I guess you want to say everybody seeing the elephant in the room with the with Russell Westbrook and LeBron James at the summer league games.
Yeah.
And my thing was, I guess they were saying the report was LeBron was on one end of the court with his people, or I guess with Darvin Ham and Rob Pelinka, I think, walked in or something. And then I think even at one point, Leon Rose or something walked in or whatever. And on the other end of the court, you had Russell Westbrook with his people. And I don't know if something happened before that or whatever. And I guess the reports was that there was some tension between LeBron and Russell Westbrook, and maybe he didn't like the fact that LeBron was over there parlaying with everybody else or whatever. I don't know what's really going on. But I will say this. This is why we can't always jump to conclusions and just assume something one way or another or whatever, because anytime in business, when you deal with people in business, that it's like I tell my son all the time in the music business. You can have friends that you work with when on music and do all that with. But when it's time to do paperwork, when it's time to do certain things that y'all need to do, you have to separate the business from the friendship.
Yeah.
And I don't know what LeBron and Russell Westbrook conversation has been like over the last several months about whatever, but Russell Westbrook hasn't done himself any favors in LeBron trying to, because it was times where LeBron was trying to do everything in his hand, everything he could to kind of have Russell Westbrook's back and to take up for him. And Russell Westbrook kind of like toward the end threw everybody up under the bus. But everybody's looking at, LeBron portrayed Russell Westbrook because of the fact that now it's like he's switching lanes and switching up. But at some point in business, you have to make a decision. Even when it's with your friends, you got to make a decision. If things not working, you gotta sit everybody down and say, listen, this not working. We got to figure something else out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I just believe it then got to that point where everything it's kind of got to that point where it's like it's no longer about friendship. It's about what's best for the team, the organization, everybody involved. So now I guess reports that Russell Westbrook has asked for a trade. You know what I'm saying? Because before it was more like he was trying to kind of say he wanted to be there, which I never understood why Russell Westbrook was adamant to kind of still stick around when it was almost like that situation when you walk in a room and nobody talking to you and everybody's like, you walk in the room, everybody get quiet or, you know what I'm saying? It was like, it always been awkward for him or whatever, and the fans booing you. I put it like this: I ain't never known the Lakers fans to boo him like Boston fans or like Philly fans or New York fans. I've never known. I watched the Lakers since I was a kid, and I've never seen the Lakers ever boo their own players like that. You know what I'm saying? So to me, I felt like the writing was on the wall, and it's like, well, how much more pain and suffering you want to go through before you got to realize it's just not working. So what's your thoughts on the whole thing?
Yeah, Russell Westbrook like that girl who just want, you know what I mean? She mad because she in a relationship. She don't want to be by herself, so she just, you know what I'm saying, keep telling how mad she is, but ain't going to leave him. Yeah, that's like Russell Westbrook at this point because, I mean, I don't see how he's blaming LeBron or anybody else. Everybody had high expectations when he came. When he came in, we all had expectations they were supposed to get to the championship or get to at least to the finals or make the playoffs. So when it went when you did not make the playoffs, and you were the 10th seed and like 11th, 12th seed like that, like it's a difference between a bad season and it's different between like a failed season. Like them guys had a failed season, so you can't run that back out there on the court. So he should know that. Like he knows it's a business. He's been in this business long enough where he should be able to take his personal feelings out of the situation at this point. But I mean, I guess you at home, you want your home team and your home fans to show you that love. You went back home, you know what I mean? And it just don't work out like that all the time. Like I wish it would have worked out for Westbrook, but when you just talking about, fighting fans or going in the stands because they disrespecting your family or your kids can't go to school because of the Westbrook name, it's like, dude, they calling you that because you missing. They're not calling you that because of who you are. At that moment, though, in the moment, the name fits, so you got to wear it. If you don't know why to call you Westbrook, stop breaking shots. I mean, I tell you, it's all in his control. This has not been a situation where he's been blindsided. He didn't have any control. It was out of his hands. No, if he would have played better, then he wouldn't have had this criticism. Even if they would have lost still and he played better, you still wouldn't have had the criticism as much.
Exactly.
And I don't think they had the name calling. But man, I mean, they playing blooper reels of you. You know what I mean? And we ain't talking about Shaq and the Fool. We talking about on Skip and Shannon. They playing a full live blooper reel just of your plays with the Lakers. We ain't even went through your whole season. It's just Laker plays. So yeah, I can't really get with Westbrook on this. Even when he first started talking about the people saying something, listen, the NBA players get paid a lot of money, dog, and you're gonna get criticized by your fans, by people like me and you that watch the game and trying to analyze it. Everybody, people don't even watch basketball. You know what I mean? They still because they see how bad you are. It's not like again, y'all didn't just make the playoffs. Y'all barely missed the playoffs. No, y'all boys were done with the week left in the season. 2 weeks left in the season, y'all were done. So Yeah, I don't really get with Westbrook on this one, man. I don't understand why he would be mad at LeBron or LeBron's camp. And like you said with LeBron, man, LeBron, I think he's the type of person, man, when it comes to business like that, when he move on, he's moved on. Like he's not gonna sit there and linger with it and keep festering it. And if you got a problem, he ain't got to worry about him coming that way. Nah, LeBron gonna do what he want to do, man. And you just gonna have to get. And if they send him to San Antonio, I mean, I don't see anywhere Westbrook can go and be successful at this point. Honestly, I think he's just gonna get this last little 40 mil, and then he'll be a mid-level type player, mid-level exemption type player after that.
And I don't really think that's his personality. It's like Cam Newton. I don't see Cam Newton going somewhere and being a backup. So I don't see Russell Westbrook going to the Spurs and basically they probably get there and they'll buy him out because they're really trying to rebuild at this point. So they'll buy him out, and it's like who's gonna really want to touch him, especially at a mid. You know, they might even want to play the mid level, or is he gonna accept the role if they're gonna be like, oh, we gonna bring you off the bench? Because most teams now, okay, you gotta look at most teams in the NBA where they at now. The way it is now, either most teams either rebuilding or they fighting for a championship, or they have a bunch of young people they try and develop. At this point in Russell Westbrook's career, he doesn't fit any of those molds. He don't fit a pit. He don't fit a team that he's a missing piece to get us to a championship. He doesn't fit a rebuild team because a lot of times you have a veteran player on a rebuild team. He's there for leadership, and Russell Westbrook doesn't have leadership skills. You know what I'm saying? And then when you're talking about developing young players, where you gonna put them? Because now, let's just say for the sake of argument, let's say Houston. You know what I'm saying? Or Detroit. You can't put them out there because they got players that's in his position that they're trying to develop to get better. So he's not going to be there to help them grow as players. He's not like a Mike Conley or somebody, you know what I'm saying, or Ricky Rubio, where he'll go in there and kind of accept his role and understand I'm just here to kind of help nurture the young people. Okay. So my point is, I really feel like maybe Brooklyn, maybe if they do finally make the Kyrie Irving, because I know at this point, everybody looking at, well, now the Lakers really got to trade Russell Westbrook because he done asked for a trade himself now. So, and Brooklyn like, listen, if we do a straight up swap, because, you know, basically Brooklyn's want to be done with Kyrie Irving, then we all got to throw in a first round pick. So maybe they play him, you know what I'm saying, for a little while, or because I don't know how that's going to work if they're going to really have to immediately, because I know their thing is, well, I think it really with Brooklyn is if we bring Westbrook on, we got to have KD out of the way. Because we already know they're not gonna play together. Yeah, so we're gonna have to try and I've seen something last night where the Miami Heat was trying to make some trades, some other side trades to get more draft picks so they can throw at Phoenix and throw at Brooklyn for Kevin Durant or Donovan Mitchell. So it's either they're gonna go more hard at Donovan Mitchell or they're gonna go hard at Kevin Durant, depending on what they can do as far as getting some compensation. So I don't know if that means if they're going to have to make some trade stuff to happen to get the picks in, or if they're going to have to get a third, fourth team involved to try to get, you know what I'm saying, Donovan Mitchell. Or now to me personally, I would say at this point, I don't think they're going to get KD. So I would be like, I would kind of, if I was Miami, I would go hard at getting Donovan Mitchell because all you do is need a solid scoring number two. You know what I'm saying?
The Nets.
No, the net. I mean, well, I'm saying even Miami, I would go after Donovan Mitchell. You know what I'm saying? Now, I mean, because you know what you call it, KD do not want to go to no Utah. You know what I'm saying? So he's not going, especially by himself. So that's not going to happen. That's why I said I feel like Miami. That's kind of me, almost like they missing piece. Like if you can get.
Well, now you're gonna have to give up. You're gonna have to give up a lot to get them. The Nets already said they're not letting them go for that cheap. You see what Rudy Gobert went for, so you know the Nets are looking at that trade like, man, listen, if they can get that back for Rudy in Utah, you know we can get that back for KD or even more. They basing their whole trade off of what just happened for Rudy Gobert.
Well, I'm just saying if you got Miami and Utah dealing with each other. I think what end up happening is in that situation, I think they're gonna have to take like a Tyler Hero maybe a Duncan Robinson or whatever, and then in exchange for Donovan Mitchell or whatever, and some
I don't
picks.
know if that'll work money wise though, will it, Icon? Because I know that Donovan Mitchell is on the max deal, ain't he? You gonna have to give up.
I'm not sure. But I'm not sure how much. Well, what's got them just signed like a newer deal too, so you could make both of them together may add up. Because I think Tyler Hero just signed. He just signed. I think he just signed the extension.
He's up for one next season. That's what he was talking about. He wanted to be a starter this year because this is his contract year.
Okay, well I know Duncan Robinson just signed one.
He did. He just read up. Duncan Robinson.
So you would have to throw. You would have to throw maybe
a couple
like
other 3 more players. Yeah, you gonna have to give up Jimmy or Bam. You're gonna have to pick one. You can't.
Well, you know, I ain't gonna give up no Jimmy because the thing about it is maybe Bam if they. Because the thing about with Jimmy is that defeat the whole purpose because Jimmy your number one, and then if you bring Donovan in, I think Donovan is more of a number two anyway.
So you're gonna have Donovan Mitchell and Kyle Lowry as your backcourt. They both like 6'1", Icon. You might have some trouble with a bigger guard.
Or you might, if you can talk them to do a Duncan Robinson or whatever, and Kyle Lowry in some picks.
Yeah, you know I was thinking Kyle Lowry will have to be the odd man out, but he got that no trade, and he just got to Miami last year. You think he ready to go already?
I ain't gonna say he ready to go, but I just like, you know what I mean? Because they were saying the same thing with Kyrie Irving for Kyle Lowry trade or whatever.
I see that more. I can see that one more.
If I was the Nets, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it either if I was the Nets. But I think they're gonna get desperate. They're gonna get desperate soon.
Well, I ain't gonna sit there and say desperate because the thing about it,
KD didn't say he wasn't gonna play. You right. I take that back.
Yeah, I wouldn't say desperate because the Nets still kind of hold. I mean, the Nets still have the leverage and the power when it comes to KD, and the whole thing with Kyrie Irving. I mean, if it gets too bad, you could just tell him to sit home, or you can buy him out because he's on his last year's contract.
They might probably buy him out, man. But I think they want to keep KD. I think they prefer to keep KD and try to get some pieces of rack for Kyrie that he can play with. But who do you put beside KD in Brooklyn? If you the GM, you like Donovan Mitchell beside KD?
I don't really think it matters who you put beside KD because KD is not like I didn't like the scenario when I've been hearing this week of KD because I didn't like when Goran Dragic. I mean, I don't know. He in the locker room, but when Goran Dragic was saying that when it came to KD and Kyrie, it was all about stat padding against basically trying to get their points off at certain times during games or whatever. And I don't really necessarily believe that with KD because the reason why I don't believe that is because KD is not a volume shooter scorer. He's not a volume shooter like a Kobe Bryant. You know what I'm saying? No disrespect, or Michael Jordan, or he's not that type of player. So you know what I'm saying? So he's more an efficient, like, you know, he could go 15 for 20 and give you 40. He don't have to go for 15 for 30 or 35 to get you 40. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so to me, and not to say that Kobe or Jordan was selfish, that's what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, and I don't even think necessarily stat pattern because especially with some of those old Bulls teams early on, Jordan had to do or play like that for them to win or whatever, or whatever. So, but I do believe that I don't know if it was. I think what it was. I think with KD and Kyrie on the court together, I think it was more like they went tit for tat on a competitive nature in their mind with each other. Like, oh, you just got off. It's time for me to get off.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I think it was more like, so I think it was more of that than it was, oh, we stat pad. It was more like, oh, I see my brother getting off. Let me get off. You know what I'm saying?
I think, too, though, Icon, I think that comes back to the coach because the coach can step in there and say, "Hey, man, y'all stop this shit. Let's run these plays like we're supposed to. Come on, y'all. Let's get back in rhythm like we're supposed to as an offense instead of y'all both, you know what I mean, trying to just go off with yourself." So I think that goes back to coaching. I think if you would have had a better coach in Brooklyn, you wouldn't even have had this whole situation. I think you would have had a situation where them guys would have been, because of COVID, I take that back. You would have had the same situation when it comes to Kyrie playing and the on-court results. But I think coaching-wise, if you'd had a better coaching or a more experienced coach, they would have been able to handle that situation better when it comes to players and how they feel in the locker room and them two not really playing to a system playing the individual ball, hero ball. I think that go more along the lines of coaching. I think they should have brought Mark Jackson in that thing, man.
Yeah, because I think that when the Nets when they were at their superpowers is when James Harden was at the point, Kyrie Irving basically was at the two, and KD was at the three or the four or whatever, and they was getting. And then I think at that time when James Harden was more in facilitate mode, when he was getting everybody involved, Bruce Brown and Blake Griffin and this one and that one, I think that's when they was at their superpowers, because I felt like they was unstoppable then, because when you
Yeah,
had James Harden getting you 11, 12 assists and he getting you at least 15 points, 15 to 20 points and 7, 8 rebounds, and then you just let Kyrie and KD go off. I think they was unstoppable. Then they was putting up 130 points every night. Now their defense was still lacking, but it didn't even matter because you couldn't keep up with them with the scoring at that time. So I
yeah.
think that I kind of, like I said, I don't know what was going on behind closed doors. We only can assume or heard different stuff, but I heard basically Kyrie Irving, it wasn't just about the COVID situation. It was he was rubbing people with the wrong way behind the scenes. Like, I guess, the way he dogged out James Harden in practice, or sometimes they
Yeah.
were like the way he was with his teammates, the way he was with the front office. Yeah, so it was always just something with him and the way he treated people. And that's what really came down to him wanting out. Like, I mean, not wanting out, but them wanting him out because the way he treated people. And then at the end, when he kind of never took any responsibility for what happened, when he was like, "Oh, well, next year I'm gonna be one of the people, me, KD, and the GM and the coach, to figure out exactly what we need." Like, bruh, we need you to be on the court. What you mean? What we need? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, bruh, like he didn't take no accountability. So, it was kind of strange to see that. But anyway, so yeah, but yeah, like I said, man, I just felt like at the end of the day, the Russell Westbrook LeBron situation, I just felt like that wasn't. I've seen people kind of trying to throw LeBron under the bus on it, and I'm like, well, y'all don't understand business, because in business, a lot of times it's going to get to the point where even with your friends, it's going to get a little dicey or whatever, especially if you're not on the same page or one side feel a certain way. It's never going to end well, and if you don't have a real understanding of what's really going on. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, so we got to just let it play out or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Because it seemed like to me, what you call is more the common denominator, Russell Westbrook than LeBron, because when LeBron split with people, he's still cool with them afterwards. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's still cool with Dwayne Wade. He's still cool with Kevin Love, or him and Chris Bosh, whoever he was when he left, he was always pretty much cool. Like, Kyrie Irving was the only situation where it kind of ended crazy. You know what I'm saying? And everybody know that was kind of because of Kyrie. Even Kyrie admitted that. Russell Westbrook, when he kind of leave people, he leave a bad taste in their mouth. Like when he left, Paul George and who else he had on his team? Was it Chris Paul?
No, he was in James Harden.
James Harden, from my understanding, you know what I'm saying, they kind of, it didn't end well. It wasn't like they were still cool after the fact. So I don't know how true that is or not. But you know what I mean? So it's just like when he leave people, he leave a bad taste in people's mouth when he leave.
It's probably how he leave though, because he's I guess we looked at the triple doubles for so long, and everybody was like, "Oh, he's so great because of the triple double," and he was doing it in places where, if you have 10 turnovers, nobody's really paying attention, ain't nobody really watching. Houston at that time was good, but once they got rid of CP3, I didn't think I always said to myself, if James Harden couldn't win with CP3, one of the greatest point guards there is, he definitely wasn't going to win with Westbrook. So I didn't expect much out of that Houston situation at all.
Because the thing about it was when Paul George left Oklahoma City, it was almost like spur of the moment. So it's like, it was the weirdest thing,
You know,
because
they spun it like Kawhi stole him, like Kawhi called him in the middle of the night, like Draymond did uh KD. They spun it like that. But I think it's more like what you were saying. Like PG was probably looking for a way out because he was tired of playing with Westbrook.
Yeah, because I'm just like, it didn't make any sense. Because if I'm happy in a situation and you come to me and say, bro, I got this job for you, or I got this situation for you, man, you need to come over here and mess with us over here. And I'm gonna be like, if I'm happy, I'm like, bro, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Me and my boy up here trying to build something right now, you know what I'm saying, or whatever. But I'll let you know if things go sideways or whatever, but I'm good. But for you just to call the dude out the blue and be like, yeah, bro, yeah, we got this situation. Oh yeah, for work, word. Yeah, I'm coming over there with y'all. The money ain't changing. You know what I'm
No,
saying? The only thing that's
that was right.
changing is the scenery. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, the money ain't changing. So why would I just up and bounce or in the middle of the night like a thief in the night and say I'm out? So I feel like it's one of the things, like you said, him and Kawhi was already talking because basically Kawhi, I think, because that's what they're going. That's another thing too. They was kind of sitting back saying the reason why Kawhi handled that whole thing with the Lakers, the Clippers, and Toronto the way he did, because he was waiting on like to see if he could get Paul George behind the scenes. So he's kind of waiting to see. Like I don't know if he's waiting on Paul George to make a decision. Maybe
Yeah.
Paul George said, "Let me talk to my peoples and then we'll think about it and get back with you." Or if he was trying to talk to the Clippers and everybody behind the scenes. That's why I said when they start talking about all this tampering and all this with the NBA, and I said, man, that's a bunch of bull job. I said these players, you don't think players talk and agents get together and talk behind the scenes and have dinner and do something on the private on the low low?
Well,
You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna tell you this now. Trey and Dejounte? Dejounte. They
Yeah.
already said they had talked at the All-Star game last year. And when they were both on Team LeBron, that's when they had the idea of playing with each other. So yeah, I think they definitely talk about it and have conversations. You know what I mean? It ain't just the agent and the franchises. We both know that. You know what I mean? Them guys calling each other, them guys going over each other's houses, having conversations. You know, they probably won't do it out in public. Of course, you don't want to go out to no restaurant and sit down and have a convo. But I pull up at your crib, Icon, and we talk about going to another network. Who are gonna know besides me and you at the end of the day? You know what I
That's
mean?
what, and that's what killed me when they say information done leaked out about about stuff that happened inside closed doors. Because I'm like, there's no way something could just leak out. It's not like a reporter is walking around following a team into the locker room or into the front office while they having these conversations. So if information leaked out, it had to be somebody with inside the organization to say, okay, take this information and on the low and give it to this reporter or give it to that reporter, and then have them put the information out, but tell them it's off the books and they could do whatever they want to with it, with the information that you give them or whatever. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So, because like you said, me and you sitting in here right now, let's just say we not on here live or whatever. Let's just say we in Atlanta. We meet up at a restaurant somewhere, and even players do that all the time. People say, "Well, I seen this player with that player, whatever." Sometimes it just be on some friendship joint. But anyway, let's just say me and you meet at Outback or somewhere in Atlanta, and
I
then we
tell
start.
people where we like to go, Icon. God dog.
Huh?
Don't be telling people where we like to go now. They're gonna be sitting at the restaurant on that.
I know that's right. And we start and we decide, man, you know what, man, we gonna leave, we gonna bounce on everybody and we gonna go over here. You know what I'm saying? Like, unless somebody was sneak like really, really on the low on in the other booth listening, they ain't gonna know what the heck happening. They just gonna be like, or even if I say, man, meet me at the office, man, we got an office. Let's meet me at the office and we gonna sit at the office and chop it up or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Come over to the crib and we gonna talk about some things. You know what I'm saying? And then at the point, and then let's say it happened the next day, they be like, oh man, we heard that Icon and Steve-O, they supposed to be doing la la la. Like, how in the world? So in other words, one of us had to go to somebody and say, you know
Yep.
what? Let this reporter know what's going on and see what the temperature in the room is. Because that's really what it be about. It be about the organization. When you start, especially when you start talking about trading a player, it be
Yep.
more about, let me see what the temperature in the room is so we could see, how the fans gonna react, how the world gonna react, whatever, to what we saying. So If
Yeah.
it's a negative reaction that's going to mess the money up, then we might say, you know what? No, we never said that. We never said we were going to trade, blah, blah, blah. But if the fans or whatever kind of cool with it, or it doesn't feel like it's going to throw things off too bad, then we'll go with it. We'll go with the narrative or whatever. We'll play it off long enough until we got a deal in place or whatever, such a situation like that. Now, this is another thing I want to talk about too, bro. That bothered me as soon as I heard it. When I heard that Phoenix matched the DeAndre Ayton trade.
Mm-hmm.
And what bothered me about the whole thing was, and this goes back to the girl, because women do this more than men, not to be funny. And it's funny, which Crystal was on here right now to see what she would say about this. But men do this more than women do. I mean, women do this more than men do. When a man and a woman break up, and the woman see the man with somebody else, well, I take that back. I think it may be even. But either way, when
Well,
people
I know
break
some
up,
guys. I know some guys that.
yeah, I'm about to say, I'm gonna take that back because I do know some situations. But when two people break up, and then the woman or the man move on to somebody else, and then they like, oh well, I want you back now. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I don't want you to be with nobody else but me, or whatever. Or you start to look good to me again. Let me get you back. And what I didn't like about the DeAndre Ayton situation is that for the last several months, they have done stuff to kind of undermine and make that man look bad. Where it was, well, he couldn't get along with the coach. You know what I'm saying? His work ethic wasn't there. All this stuff, like we just talked about, behind the scenes conversations or things that go on in the locker room that was coming out about DeAndre Ayton. And I think a lot of it had to do was they was trying to devalue him. So if nothing else, if somebody did come in with an offer sheet, they would lowball it. They would be like, oh well, we give you 4 years for $100 million or something, versus giving him, because they said that was the max offer that Indiana put on the table, was the largest max offer that Indiana Pacers ever offered in the history of the Pacers. So Phoenix, now, this is what I heard, the reason why they kind of did it. Because what it was, and the deal was kind of like, I ain't gonna say unheard of, but it was kind of like not usually how it's set up. So the deal was 4 years, no player option, no team option. It was just, I think it was just a 4 year straight up deal. There was no signing bonus. There was no trade kickers in it. It was no kind of extra language in the contract. It was just a straight 4 year, $133 million deal. So when Phoenix seen that, they was like, oh, well, shoot, if y'all going to make the deal so easy peasy, so straight up, we just going to keep him. He 24 years old. We don't really want to lose him for nothing. Y'all don't have a scenario where we can make a sign and trade. So we just going to keep him. But I'm like, well, if y'all going to put that man, y'all got to think, you're a young man still trying to find himself. Y'all know this. Y'all know what kind of personality he has. Why would y'all put him through that, knowing the whole time y'all was gonna play this type of game where y'all might end up keeping him anyway? So, what's your thoughts on that?
I didn't expect for them to match. Based on what what we had talked about in the previous conversations, I really didn't. I didn't expect for them to match his offer. I didn't expect for them to try to keep him. But I do think that after a while, when I feel like an NBA free agency, if you want them big, Kawhi Leonard's deal, Paul George's deal, those guys' deals were done on Tuesday before free agency started. So when free agency first hit, I think if you're a big dog, they're going to get you fast. I thought they would re-sign Ayton as soon as free agency hit if they wanted to keep him. But the fact that they just let him sit there, nobody sent him an offer. We had like rumors about Detroit wanting him. They never gave him an offer. When the first offer actually came from Indiana, I was like, wow, damn, the Pacers? And that kind of money, like you said, when have we known the Pacers to really step out there in free agency and, you know what I mean, try to do something? Mm-hmm. So when they did that, I was shocked. But I thought he was really going to Indiana. I never expected for the Suns to come back and say they were going to match, because they were giving the indications, like you said, all year long that this guy is just not the guy. Now, Does that look like who's it look bad worse on? Does it look worse on the Suns for this, or does it look worse on, or how is it going to look? I guess when it don't work, because I don't think it will. I guess that's a better question. Who do you blame more when it doesn't work? You know what I mean? The Phoenix, or you gonna look at Aiden and say, man, they gave you this money, you should have stepped up.
Well, I definitely look bad on Phoenix because then people gonna be looking like, well, why would y'all done gave this man his money and he ain't performing? So I think it reflects more on them because of the way they handle it. And I'm kind of with I want to say, I forgot who it was. I want to say it was Nick Wright or somebody that I was watching them the other morning. I kind of felt like after this past season that Phoenix's window is pretty much closed.
Yeah.
And the reason why I say that is because of some of the same reasons he said. And I thought that is because, I love Chris Paul's game or whatever, but you can kind of see Chris Paul is I ain't gonna say he on his last leg, but he's past his prime. He's right there on the peak where it's like you're not gonna get better. You can't ask him. You can't ask if Devin Booker is not gonna be who everybody thinks he's gonna be, which I felt like they overrated Devin Booker. Like, yeah, he had his couple of months this last season for a couple of months he was like the MVP of the league. But I never really thought like he's gonna be the one that's gonna just go in and dominate throughout the playoffs. Like if you watch Phoenix is a team where it's kind of like the old Spurs team. They need everybody to contribute at a high level for them to win. Or whatever, because if you look at it, outside of Devin Booker, they don't have any other player that they could just say, oh, that person can get me a bucket. Like even with the Spurs, they had Tony Parker get hot for like 5-10 minutes.
You can always throw it down to Tim Duncan on the block. He gonna get you a bucket.
Exactly, Tim Duncan. You know what I'm saying? And then Kawhi Leonard came along. So they always had players that could get you buckets like that or whatever. Not to say Phoenix got players that could shoot and, whatever, and do a little something, but they're not going to come in and dominate a whole series. You know what I'm saying? So to me, and I think at this point when I seen it in this last, when they played against Dallas or whatever, it's like everybody's waiting for Chris Paul to take over. And I'm like, at this point, you can't ask, he not LeBron James where he's like, and even asking LeBron is a lie. You can't ask no 37-year-old man that's 6 foot tall, that his game really not predicated on quickness and athleticism to dominate a game night in and night out anymore. You just can't. And if that's your number one option, you're in trouble anyway. Or even number two, he really can't be your number two option. So at the end of the day, if you've seen that DeAndre Ayton for 2 years in a row, 2 playoff series seasons in a row, he showed he wasn't wasn't capable yet of dominating a series or dominate a playoff yet. That should have been, you know what? We got to upgrade here. So whether we got to trade DeAndre Ayton to get some pieces back to kind of fulfill that void of what he not doing, or we just let him go. But at the end of the day, I just feel like next year, now this is all predicated on health, of course we know. But the Clippers, if they can stay healthy, they're going to be right there. If the Lakers stay healthy, now I don't know if it will Russell Westbrook, but if they can get him out the way, they might have a chance. Denver, if they can stay healthy, you know what I'm saying, they gonna be right there. Of course, we know Golden State gonna be still right there. Dallas, for whatever reason, Luka find a way to still win a bunch of games with minimum health, and hopefully maybe Tim Hardaway will come back and be, kind of back. They
lost Brunson, so we got to see what they look like, right?
But you got to think too. Let's just say if they would have had Bronson and they would have had Luka, and then Tim Hardaway wouldn't have been injured. Never know. They might have beat. You never know what could have happened in that situation. And not to say Tim Hardaway is a series changer, but he will give you another scoring element.
He can get high and take over a game. He can win you a game in the series. He can win you one game. He can do that. He can.
Exactly. So you got thinking that Phoenix series, you know what I'm saying, it was a couple of games here or there where they would have had that one other score. And I think, he depends a little bit, huh?
Golden State series? What you mean?
Yeah, like it was 1 or 2 games that it was kind of like, okay, if they would have had a Tim Hardaway Jr., you just never know. They might have could have pulled it out or whatever. So and I think that's why Draymond looking at like they're a threat or whatever. This is what I don't understand about Mark Cuban in Dallas is that to me it's like when they go after a second player to go against to go with their superstar, they never go and get like a true number two. It's like they go get all these play people. Even when Dirk was there, they just go get players to kind of fill in, but they never get like a real number two. So
they tried with Porzingis, but when he got to Washington, as you see, he's not that guy. He can't really hold no. He can't hold. I don't know what they saw in him when they brought him from New York. I don't get it. So
I'm gonna say it like this, bro. And the NBA does this a lot.
About to say, what is it?
They do this a lot. Anytime it's a white player that can play, or if it's a foreign player, international player, especially if they look like they are of the Caucasian persuasion, they try to uplift them to make them the great white hope. They do this all the time. They'll try to put somebody on a pedestal to try to make them be better and more than what they are, because it kills them. It kills the people on that level. It kills them to know that we dominate the sport the way we do. We dominate their sports the way they football and basketball. We dominate their sports the way we do. That's why they try to do certain things.
I don't think they mind the football. I don't, because I think they see the danger in the game, and that's kind of like a sacrifice. You know what I mean? I'm just being honest. At this point, playing football professionally at that level, it's kind of like a sacrifice. You're sacrificing for your money, for your family, your money. It's generational change. It should be. You know what I mean? If you make the best out of it. But basketball, I definitely agree with you. I think since Larry Bird, they've been searching for their, you know what I'm saying, that next one. Since Larry Bird, they haven't really been able to find them. I mean, I can't even give you the last All-Star that.
And the thing about it with Dirk is the one player that has won a championship that gets put like on a higher pedestal than any other player that just won one championship. Because you think about it, he didn't leave for 20 years. He didn't leave 20 years. He won one championship. One. You know what I'm saying? Now, if he was I feel like he was a black player that had just won one championship after 20 years, especially being that at one point Dirk was considered like a top 5 player in the league. You know what I'm saying? At his height, he still would have got some kind of criticism for only winning one. So just imagine Giannis going the next 15 years of his career, because I think he's been in the league like 5-6 years. So just imagine he's going the rest of his career and don't win another championship. You think they're gonna still put him on this accolade, on this high level, like they gonna basically praise him the way they do Dirk?
I think no. I'm gonna be honest with you. To me, in the NBA, until you win, I think that third one, you really, you know what I mean. You playing catch up. I mean, the when you talk about the next level of greatness, when we talk about those Mount Rushmore type players, I can't think of one of those Mount Rushmore type players that got less than 3. You got Shaq, Kobe, Jordan, LeBron. Everybody got at least 3. So I think when you want to be talked about as an all-time great, the Bill Russells and the Magic Johnsons and the LeBron James and then some of those names there, yeah, you got to win at least 3.
What I'm saying is, I've never heard nobody ever criticize Dirk Nowitzki. I've never heard not one person ever. I never heard people say, well, Dirk didn't play defense, or Dirk he wasn't a high level rebounder. And all that I hear about is Dirk was 7 foot tall. He could shoot anywhere on the court like a KD, but they never criticized his game, especially when he finally won a championship. And then who he beat in a championship, and people just gave him. It was like the whole like the Eli Manning effect. Once Eli Manning, especially when he won that second one, and he beat Brady, like it's like he got seats. He got not key to the city. This nigga got key to America. Like they just made Eli Manning like make it seem like he was on the same level as far as his skill level as Peyton, as Brady, as Aaron Rodgers. And I'm like, no, I say he had his moments, but if you look at his stats, his career, there's no way he should be in the doggone Hall of Fame.
Man, me and Jake have that argument all the time. I ain't gonna start this morning, but because you got a great defense that don't give you the ability to say you're a Hall of Fame quarterback. You had two great defenses. You know what I mean? Them defenses he played with those 2 years to win the championship had one of the best front. You had Michael Strahan on one side, Justin Tuck, O.C. Umenor. I mean, you had 5, 6 pass rushers on one team at one time. Eli won because of his defense. Eli didn't care. He had one good drive, and that was lucky helmet catch. And that's about all I can give. You know what I mean? I can't get at the Eli like that. But he beat Tom Brady. I think, like you said, they looking at who he beat twice is the key to Eli's thing. And with Dirk is who he beat that one time. But again, like you said, once in 20 years. And you're right. I've never heard anybody criticize Dirk defense. I've never heard anybody criticize Dirk not being able to jump, rebounding. You know what I'm saying? The thing about it, I've never heard anybody criticize Dirk.
Nope. You never heard it.
As you said, I'm saying things in my head, and I'm like, I ain't never heard nobody criticize Dirk for real.
Yeah, you're right. That's what I'm telling you. And I love Dirk. I love Dirk. But at the end of the day, I'm like, if you're gonna put him in the same, you can't have a conversation about a great and then you don't even remotely say, okay, whatever. Like most greats have something that you say something against them or whatever. Like, you know what I'm saying? The only other player I can think that was probably held in the same regard as Dirk as far as not really getting criticized. And that's because he kind of changed the game himself or changed the way people looked at the game was Dr. J. You know what I'm saying? Dr. J is probably the only other one I can think of that was kind of put in that mold of he's so great. You know what I'm saying? Of what he did flying through the air and stuff. We'd never seen that before at that time. But you know what I'm saying? He's the only one that I could say that nobody really criticized for only winning one championship. You know what I'm saying? And being as great as he was. You know what I'm saying? But
then you got me sitting here trying to think like, who else won one championship that we consider great? But again, nobody I consider great has won one title. Like you said, Dirk might be the only one. And like you just pointed that out to me, and I'm saying, thinking like, damn, I've never heard anybody on ESPN, Fox. I ain't never heard nobody say nothing about Dirk.
Yeah, and I think even with Dr. J, he won one in the ABA, and they kind of consider that. They kind of consider that like his two. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's the reason why he don't really get the criticism because he did win one in the ABA. It wasn't his fault that he couldn't play in the NBA in the beginning because I think it wasn't enough players or the way the league was set up. It was hard for him to get in the NBA at the time. So you know what I'm saying, and I think he ended up going to the ABA because at the time when the ABA NBA existed, NBA wasn't necessarily considered better than the ABA. It was just more recognized. But a lot of the great players came from the ABA to the NBA when they merged. You feel what I'm saying? So it wasn't one of those things where like the NBA was so much better player-wise than the ABA because there's a lot of great players that came from the ABA to the NBA. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's why they kind of consider that almost like his two championships. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever, because it wasn't like he was playing against lesser competition in the ABA. He was still kind of playing against the same competition. It was just they just had two different sports, kind of like what's going on with golf now, where golf has to make a decision. The PGA Tour got to make a decision on the LIV golf tournament, golf league and their league because their best players are starting to go over to the other side because it's more money. You know what I'm saying? So maybe across the board, it might be better players in the PGA Tour across the board. But if your four best players go over there, they can create an atmosphere to bring the competition up. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever. Or some new players will come in, crop of players will come in, and they'll start going to LIV golf tournament because I don't know where they're getting this money from. So, because I don't know nothing enough about the LIV golf league to know. How they spend all this money?
I don't want to comment either, but my understanding again. I hate to comment on it, but it's not. Is it Saudi Arabia, right? It's coming from
I think it's Saudi Arabia. I think it is.
Oh, they got plenty of money. They got plenty of money over there.
So
You
I
ain't
mean,
got to worry about that part. The money is the lesser problem. They just want the popularity. They got bread. Trust me.
yeah, I mean, I know they got bread because they got that. Then they got that oil money and
Oil
all that.
money.
You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? So I mean, I know they got bread, but it's just kind of funny how they get this league together and then all of a sudden they can throw out 200 million off the rip. I'm like,
I
good
mean,
lord.
when you got the right investors, the
Yeah,
NFL would be in trouble. If Saudi Arabia wanted to get in the NFL, they'd be in trouble. Get into
yeah, that's true.
football rather, it would get in trouble. That's the only reason why the NFL doesn't have a threat. You don't have anybody with that kind of money to throw behind it. You know what I mean? And just
Yeah,
keep funneling that kind of money behind it. It's a difference between putting $200 million payment out there once, but Liv has got to set up with these guys going to make real money, like real money for the next few years. So you got to
that's why you know what's funny. We was talking about this yesterday in the barbershop, and I said my issue was not with um the young players getting money. I want them to get their money. My concern is they getting so much money at such a young age, and them not understanding financial literacy. Not
Mhm.
just them, but the parents too. Because somebody was telling me even in Texas that that even like they even like out there it's legal for the high school players to get money for them to get to college. So I'm like, well, if it's getting to that point where they can start getting money even when they in high school or whatever, because they was like this one kid out there who changes up cars with it because he got a situation with a dealership where he could change up cars every 45 days. So I was like, what? I was like, so if it had got to that point, then my thing is, I would say that for the stipulation for every contract that you give a child, they get that kind of money, they have to watch. I said they got to watch 30 for 30 broke. If you ever watch 30 for 30 broke, I
I
think
have,
every
I
player
have.
need to watch that to kind of see to get an idea of this is what can happen if you don't have your money right. And then this is what I would tell anybody: if you have a financial accountant, at some point when you get your financial accountant, do not give them power of attorney over your whole estate. Maybe a couple of things you might give them a power of attorney over or whatever, because you could do a power of attorney where you could send a letter to them and say, well, I give you power of attorney to sign this on my behalf, you know what I'm saying, at the bank or whatever, because I'm out of town, I'm out of the country, whatever. But don't give them a kind of power of attorney over your whole all your money. You know what I'm saying? They out here writing checks and doing whatever, you know what I'm saying, and making side deals with your bread and you don't know nothing about it. Don't do it like that. So that would be my two things I would tell people, because I've seen it too many times when you see a financial accountant and they be like, person be like, well, I really wasn't watching it because they had power of attorney. So I found out they wasn't doing this and they wasn't doing that, and then my money was over here. You know what I'm saying? By the time I realized that they done spent $6 million of my money on over here and this, that, and the third. So you better don't give them fine. Don't. And it all boils down to now, other than the situation with what's going on with Boosie right now, that's a whole nother conversation because that's for another show. But I don't know if you heard what's going on with Boosie and his
Oh yeah, him
situation
and
with
Blue.
Lil Blue.
Yeah. I'm up on it. I see what's going on.
Yeah, so we definitely had to talk about that when we start doing the morning radio stuff. We got to get in them type of conversations to see
Yeah,
to
man.
say what's going on with that or whatever. How shady this business is. But
Man, you be your own people. You be your own folk.
yep. Because I didn't know it was a brother behind it.
Yeah,
That was
man.
threw me off. I like, dang, your own brother
Man,
suing you?
your
Or
own
you got to sue
brother.
your own brother? That's crazy. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. So but anyway, so I don't know what's going on with everybody today. Because I thought we were gonna get into the top 5 conversations.
Yeah,
Or whatever.
they say wanted to have the top 5, man. I was just top 5 quarterback going into the next season. I think it'll be. Mm-hmm. I had to really think about that because
Um. Well, of course, I'm always put my boy, my homeboy, number one because even if they don't win at the same high level, high rate, win the same amount of games, because I do feel like they might not win 12, 13 games. They may go like 11-6, maybe even possible 10-7, and then squeeze into the playoffs as a wild card. But I still think Mahomes is gonna still get his numbers. I think he still got enough weapons around him. I think that the whole Tyreek Hill and him, like I told y'all this earlier this season. The problem with the NFL messed up is and they did the right thing. But when they make a player adjust, and a player has to adjust their game, and they're good enough to adjust their game, then what happens is you kind of actually give them another power, and you make them better. You know what I'm saying? It's just like when LeBron was in the playoffs years ago against the Spurs, the first time around, and the Spurs in the finals. And LeBron really couldn't shoot at that time. So they just pretty much didn't guard him, out past 15 feet, whatever.
Mhm.
And he couldn't get off, like he couldn't drive to the basket over and over and get off. So by the time he played the Spurs the second time around, he could shoot a lot better, and he ended up winning. He beating the Spurs the second time around, because what happened was he had to go into the lab and he had to work on his game. So what happened with Patrick Mahomes, which was even more impressive, they did this on the fly. So everybody came in last year and was playing this kind of like I guess you want to say, what you call it, 2-man defense,
Yeah,
where it was like
cover two.
cover two,
Cover
where they
two.
basically put everybody back, so Tyreek Hill couldn't have all these blow-bys and all this stuff. So they tried to turn Patrick Mahomes into like a dink and dunk type quarterback.
I got
And
you.
he had to kind of methodically get down the field to score. But what happened was, as they kept doing that over and over, game after game, Patrick Mahomes got more comfortable playing like that. So what happens is, you going into this year, he don't have that true take the top off type play until
I don't
Tyreek
know.
Hill.
I don't say that. They got the fastest player in the draft. He ran a 4.21. I don't know.
Well, yeah, if they come together, then yeah. But what I'm saying is, they might not have that chemistry yet, so it may take some time.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that, but he's learned how to play both ways. What I mean,
Yeah.
he can play the methodical way, and he can still take the top off. So when you got a great player like Patrick Mahomes, and you got a great mind like Andy Reid, they're gonna throw stuff in there that's gonna throw the other team off. So now you done gave them more. You done gave them more powers to be able to get off. So the problem with Kansas City has never really been the offense. It's always been the defense holding people down. You know what I'm saying? So that's going to be the issue, because Josh Herbert, you know what I'm saying, he liable to put up 400 yards and 5 touchdowns on your. Russell Wilson might put up 350, 400 on you and give you 3 or 4 touchdowns. And so, and even Derek Carr may get off on you because you know what I'm saying, because the Raiders play Kansas City real tough when they play them.
Yeah,
so,
I agree. Everything you said. I think to even expand on it, he's going to be able to help the defenses now even more, because I don't have to put you right back on the field. I'm not going to throw this 60-yard bomb if I don't have to. Now I can go down the field and give y'all some rest. Now I can cut off the other team's possessions, because I can keep the ball third down, keep converting. I don't have to go straight down the field and score, and I know my defense is going to be right back out here. I can give my defense time. So I think you're going to see the maturation continue, where he learns to manipulate the game like Brady. Brady will keep the ball 8 minutes on one drive.
Yep.
It's like he's in control the whole time. He's never in a situation where it's 3rd and long, 3rd and 11, 3rd and 12. It's always 3rd and 3, 3rd and 2. You know what I mean? Something manageable where they're going down the field. Like you said, it may look dink and dunk to us, but really he's learning to be real methodical with it and not just hit you with that explosive play. So I think losing Tyreek Hill is a positive. And with him being the quarterback, if he was still Patrick Mahomes 2-3 years ago, I would say losing Hill would hurt so much more. But I think now you'll be able to see him where he makes wide receivers money. He's going to be one of them type of quarterbacks that Kansas City is going to have to either keep drafting them or keep paying them because of him. Like Aaron Rodgers, you know what I mean? This kid that they drafted, this boy can play. Nah, that boy can play. He went to a small school, but bro can ball. Bro led the school in all the receiving records. He broke every receiving record in the little conference he was in, the Sun Belt Conference, I think it was. But that kid that they drafted, I think second round, it might have been second round, he can ball. Because I don't think they had a first round pick. I think they had traded the other way. But that kid that they drafted, man, he can go. But yeah, it just speaks to Mahomes, like you said, greatness. He's able to evolve his game and keep that going. Like you said, defensive playing, changing up how they play him. Okay, y'all play me different. I'm going to learn to play different. Now, probably going to be tough to see a defense that he's never seen before. You know what I mean? He's at that stage of his career now where they've probably thrown every defense you can play at him.
And then you got to think his confidence level is stupid high because Patrick Mahomes in his little 5-year career has been in every clutch situation you can think of.
And it's been 5 years already.
I think it's just so okay. So he lost to Brady that one year in the AFC Championship game.
Yeah.
He came back the next year, went to the Super Bowl. So he's been in the Super Bowl 2 years in a row, and then last year they lost. So maybe I think he's going into his 5th year. If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So because I know his rookie year he only played like maybe the last 10 games.
You're right.
So I think he's going into his 5th year. But think about it. In his 5th year going into, he's been in 2 Super Bowls. He's been in the Super Bowl itself, that whole playoff run when they won the Super Bowl, he had clutch moment after clutch moment after clutch moment. They was down by 10 points against Tennessee. Man. They was down by 28, I think, or 24 against Houston. You know what I'm saying? And then in the Super Bowl, they was down by 10 in the fourth quarter and came back and won. Then you look at last year against Buffalo. Back and forth. Oof. So Patrick Mahomes been in every clutch situation. You can't say he not clutch. You can't say he that dude. He done won an MVP already and a Super Bowl, and he only been in the league for almost going on his 5th year. So to me, like you said, he ain't gonna do nothing but get better and better and better. You know what I'm saying, or whatever. So to me, I got to put Patrick Mahomes at top dog. This going into the season till you show me otherwise that he not that. Now I'm gonna say
Brady folks gonna come get you if you gonna put Tom Brady at number 2 behind Pat Mahomes and he ain't fell off yet. I don't know now. I don't know, but that's your list. Go ahead. That's your 2. You at 2?
I mean, you got to put Brady in there. I'll give you that. I would say Brady until he either retires or show otherwise. You got to put Brady in there or whatever. Or whatever. Then I would say I want to say Josh Allen because I think Josh Allen, over his last couple of years of just learning and going through certain things, I think he's gonna put himself. And I think didn't they get another receiver to him themselves?
Yeah, they did.
So I think that's gonna help.
They're on defense now too, man. Them boys crazy.
Oof. So I think he's gonna be able to continue to elevate his game or whatever. So I will put him at 3. I want to keep Burrow right there too, man. I want to put Burrow right there about 4. I really do. I like Burrow a lot. You know what I'm saying? Because there's so many. It's kind of funny because the other day we were talking about the top 5 black quarterbacks. So it's kind of hard to be like, okay, well, shoot, now who else do you put in there out of that group to mix in with everybody else?
It's tough because you ain't said Rodgers. You ain't said Rodgers yet. Oh,
and
man.
See, the thing about it is, it depends on what you're looking at because then now it's like, okay, is Aaron Rodgers gonna still be able to play the ball out with not having a true number 1? So is he gonna struggle? So it's kind of like, okay, kind of what it's like what you looking at when you looking at these quarterbacks of saying who's top 5 and who's not top 5. It's like it's kind of hard to kind of say. So you know what I mean? Because if you just look at that alone, man, it's kind of hard. Like I said, I'm just gonna go with right now just to start because we ain't started the season yet, and we can revisit it probably maybe halfway through or whatever the season or something. I'm gonna say Patrick Mahomes. I'm gonna say Brady, Josh Allen. I'm gonna say Joe Burrow, and I'm gonna say I'm gonna say Russell just because Russell Wilson, because I feel like I think he gonna have to redeem himself. You know what I'm saying? So if anything, I'm gonna say Russell Wilson may get back into the conversation of being a top 5 quarterback just because he got to redeem himself. Because I think last year was kind of I understand why he was why he felt the way, but see, because I remember I was telling everybody last year when it got to the point I said Russell Wilson and checked out or whatever, and they was like, "Well, what you mean?" I said, "It's like when you go to a job and you've been working on that job and you just show up every day. You don't care. You don't care if, like, let's say you worked in a restaurant. You don't care if the doggone fries taste right. You don't care how you fix the burger. You just been throwing the pickles on there, ketchup be looking all sloppy on there. You just ready to go. You know what I'm saying? Yo, any office you work in, you could be working in a customer service office, customer call in, you about dang near cussing them out before they can cuss you out. You know what I'm saying? You just don't care. So I think Russell Wilson got to the point where he got a point in the season where he didn't care. Because I said there's no way Russell Wilson is this terrible. Because it was I think it was one game where he went like 6 for 23 or something like that. He would have these he would throw the ball.
He broke his thumb too.
Yeah, but it just like even like when they played against us, when they played against us, and I seen how bad he was looking, I said, hold on, Russell Wilson is not this bad. Like, no, this joke wasn't checked out for real. So I just feel like I think he got some redemption he got to do. Now, do I feel like Josh Herbert might be in the conversation?
Yes, sir. Justin, you can't leave Justin out of this, man.
Yeah, I'm going to keep saying Josh, Justin Herbert, Kyler Murray, of course. I don't know when Deshaun Watson going to show up. We still got to figure that out.
Well, Lamar.
Until he can show me he can throw okay, that's another thing too. Okay, let's go ahead and pivot to that real quick. So I seen what you put up last night, and I didn't want to chime in last night because I really wanted to wait to have this conversation this morning. When you were saying who was better, you felt like Lamar Jackson is way better than Michael Vick ever been. And that's a lot coming from you because I know it had to hurt your feelings. And you might get ran out of Atlanta for that one. You know what I'm saying? So you might need security out for this one.
Man, my comments been. I woke up. I still got comments I ain't even read yet from that post. I got 15 comments from that post I haven't read. So I don't know what they talking about. So.
Yeah, they telling you better be watching your back. That's what they telling you. You know what I'm saying? They gonna catch you while you eat your chicken wings. You know what I'm saying? Somewhere. I thought about it and I said, man, as much as I like Michael Vick, I'm gonna say to me it's probably about even. I would agree. I got somebody on your post. I agree it's about even as far as because Lamar Jackson may be a little bit more like faster than
Mike Vick.
But Mike Vick had more, to me, elusive speed. His was more smoother than me. It was more like like almost an effortless thing. You know what I'm saying? To me, with him. And now the arm talent, if you watch Michael Vick's arm talent, just to be able to throw the ball down 50, 60 yards, I was watching a play that they played against us when we was still the Redskins back in the day. And I remember when he threw the ball from the 3-yard line, and he literally threw the ball from the 3 down to the 35 on the 35-yard line on the other side of the field. So he literally threw the ball damn near 70 yards. You know what I'm saying? He did it effortless, like a flick of the wrist type deal. And so when it comes to arm talent, arm strength, Michael Vick arm strength is better. But I think both of them in a situation, which is kind of almost an indictment on Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson seems like he works on his game year out and year out to get better. Michael Vick admitted, and his teammates admitted, and coaches admitted, whatever, that Michael Vick really didn't work on his game. He just came in and he just kind of just solely was, I know I'm talented and I could just show up every Sunday. So if you got one player who's doing everything they can to get better, and they slightly getting better, and you got one player that only why they didn't get better because they didn't work on it. It's an indictment towards Lamar. Like,
I get what you're saying. Yeah,
you should be way better than if you actually working on your craft. Now he has gotten better throwing the ball since his rookie year to now, but he's still inconsistent, and it's not totally his fault because they got these slow ass tight ends that they got out there that they trying to make him throw the ball to, and they got
Hollywood can't catch the damn ball, man. Hollywood, Lamar probably had 20 more touchdowns in his career if Hollywood went as a wide receiver.
Exactly, and if Rashad Bateman can get healthy, and see what he can do, then maybe possibly, maybe something there. But so I just gotta see. I like Lamar Jackson, but I wouldn't put him top 5. Like I do see people say, well, he wins a lot of games off of his ability. I give him that, but I still think I would still take other quarterbacks. Just because he win a lot of games, I would still take other quarterbacks. Not not a lot of more quarterbacks, but I'll still take other quarterbacks before I take him.
I guess.
What I'm saying? So, but I'll put him. I'll put him like, maybe. Because they were saying, well, top 10, I would probably put him at least number 9 or 10. Because I was thinking about Dak. Yeah, because after the fact, like, Steve, Jacob hit me up with like, man, what the heck Steve be talking about at the time? He don't be talking about nothing football. And I said, it's Steve like the troll. So I said, he like, well, I feel like Dak got at least be, a top 5, top 10 quarterback.
No.
And I thought about it. I think he said top 10. And I thought about it. He said, at least top 10 quarterback. And so I started thinking about it. I said, okay, let me think about all the quarterbacks in the league. I would have to at least put, okay, let's just break this down. Let's break it down, though. But this is how we're going to break it down. I'm going to be fair. I'm going to be fair for that. Okay, we're going to break it down. Let's start off from the NFC West. So who you got in NFC West? What quarterbacks?
NFC West. We're talking about
we got San Francisco. So we know they route. We got.
So I would put Stafford over. I take Stafford over Dak. I would.
Stafford and Kyler Murray. So that's 2 right there.
What? Man, listen. Okay, hold on. You gotta do all that. I got it for you right here. You done gave me 2 more names. What's this? Are you taking Dak over? You just said Kyler. You taking Dak over Kyler? No.
No.
You taking Dak over Stafford?
No.
Taking Dak over Burrow?
No.
You taking Dak over Deshaun Watson with no charges?
No.
You taking Dak over Russell Wilson, healthy?
No.
You taking Dak over Aaron Rodgers?
No.
You taking Dak over Justin Herbert?
Probably not. No.
You taking Dak over Tom Brady?
No.
You taking Dak over Justin Allen? Josh Allen?
No.
You taking Dak over Patrick Mahomes?
No.
Okay, well, I gave you 10.
So you gave me 12.
I think I gave you more than 10. So
you gave me 12. You gave me 12. So I would say 13, 14 then.
Yeah. I ain't even
13, 14.
I mean,
you know what I'm saying? Maybe you didn't name Lamar Jackson.
Oh,
so I know you might take Lamar Jackson over him.
Yeah.
I'm kind of
Derek Carr. I ain't put Derek Carr on the list.
Oh yeah, you didn't put Derek Carr either. So yeah, so I would probably put him at 14 because I might take him over Lamar just because he might.
That's probably why I didn't leave Lamar off because that's kind of like a toss up.
Yeah. So I might take him over Lamar, but it's just depending on. It just depends on my team setup.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Or whatever. Exactly. You know what I mean? Would I put Lamar on Dallas right now? Probably so. Because
man, listen.
I'll put it like this. If I had Lamar probably last year when they still had all them weapons. Put him in the best situation where he can win. Yeah. Then yes, definitely. Because I feel like Lamar Jackson would have got Dallas to the he might have got them to at least the NFC Championship game.
Yeah.
With that team last year? Man,
yeah. CD, you had that little dude in the slot, Cedric Wilson. Man, come on, man. They had Pollard running the ball good. Like that team disappointed last year for the Cowboys.
Then you gotta worry about him running the ball too? Man, stop.
Yeah, but I'm not taking Dak over any of them quarterbacks. I don't be hating. I'm just being real.
Yeah.
Listen, my delivery may come off in a hating way. Yeah, I'm talking junk. But just being real, Dak, I'm not taking Dak over none of those quarterbacks.
Well, see, the problem is, and even Jacob made this point, is that Dak gets a bad rap because, first of all, he plays in the most well-known team in not in sports history, not just in football, in sports history. Then he's getting all this money. He got $75 million. So when you put that together, and then you can't, and then you win. And then the thing about with Dak is Dak will beat a sorry team, but then when it comes to beating the teams that's viable, he can't beat them. And it's like, how can I go with that? Because he'll put up 300-400 against us, but then he can't. Even if he put up 300-400 against
Is it the
Brady
fourth quarter?
or Aaron Rodgers, it'd be down after they down by 20. You know what I'm saying? And like Shannon always say to Skip, you act like Dak never had the ball. You know what I'm saying? Dak get the ball just like the other quarterback. He don't do nothing with it until the fourth quarter, and by that time it's empty calories. Because they down by 20, and then other team playing prevent defense, so he able to get 200-300 yards off and pat the stats. So at the end of the day, I don't. You know what I'm saying? I don't look at him as a prime time quarterback that feel like he can get it done for me yet. Now, if he proved this year he can get it done, especially with less, I give him his props.
Yeah, me too.
But you know what I'm saying? Because I'll be honest with you, I don't dislike that. Actually, he the one cowboy I kind of like because he's not arrogant. He not,
root for
over
Dak,
the top.
man. You can root for Dak. Some players it'd be hard to root for, but Dak ain't one of them players that is hard to root for. He's really not. You know what I mean? But the fact that he wears that star on his helmet, like you said, it puts an extra level of expectation, I guess. And I don't know why, because Tony Romo ain't never win, Jack. They ain't won since 8, man. You know what I mean? So but I'm like I said, man, we just call out all these names that me and you went through. And you yourself, bro, I'm not taking none of them quarterbacks. That's half the league. And now we haven't even gotten to the ones that are, would you trade in Dak experience for this player's upside, like a Trevor Lawrence?
Yeah,
what I mean? It's players that's Justin Fields. It's young players out here that we still ain't even talk. You know what I mean?
That's true. That's true. Like, you know what I mean? I want to see what Trevor Lawrence can do with a real team, and then not that doggone, middle school team he had last year. I mean, if he can do something, because I know Trevor Lawrence got all the skills. I watched him in Clemson, and when I seen him, I even see him in a loss. He impressed me more in a loss than he did in the win. When they was playing against in the Final Four his last season, and they was
Ohio State.
He was competing the whole entire time, and almost brought them back or whatever was the way he was competing. I said that let me know this dude the truth. So to me, I felt like Trevor Lawrence definitely. I think with the right teammates around him and coaching and all that, I think he can definitely excel and be something. Zach Wilson, I'm not sure about. I ain't seen enough of Zach to know.
He sold on Zach.
Jets ain't never developed a quarterback, so I don't have no faith in him to do it now. So they might ruin his career before it gets started.
His mama might ruin his career.
Who is mama?
I tell you what, we get off this. I ain't gonna say it on air. We get off this. Just Google Zach Wilson's mom, and you just go from there.
Okay. So yeah. So anyway, what's my man out there in Chicago?
Justin Fields.
Justin Fields.
I ain't sold on Justin.
I've never been a Justin Fields fan. Never.
Okay.
Because my thing is this: once you as an NFL or a college analyst, when you start overpraising somebody, I ain't gonna lie, I be having a little hater in me. So I'll be like, okay, let me go see what they talk about, because
it don't be the hype. It don't be living up to the hype.
Because like the first time I even seen Lonzo Ball, I kept hearing about him, but I wasn't seeing him play, because at the time, the way my schedule I was working, I really couldn't watch a lot of college basketball games. So when I finally seen Lonzo Ball play in college, I'm like, hold on, this the dude they saying like is the next like.
You saw that jump shot, and you were like, "What the hell?"
I was like, what in the world? And then he putting up 12 points and 8 assists and 6 rebounds. I'm like, hold on, he ain't even dominating the game with the points. So I was scratching my head like, okay, I don't get it. So when I seen Justin Fields and I watched him play a few different times, I never got the indication like, okay, he that guy. Like it never really registered me like, okay, I don't see what everybody else is seeing. So I'm like, I just feel like he gonna struggle in the league or whatever. I say he may come along, because a lot of times when you go from one level to another, and even if you don't dominate that level, sometimes when you get to open it up a little bit better, it helps your game.
Yeah.
But I just don't see it in him right now, or whatever. And so we'll see. And of course, Mac Jones, he just an average quarterback. You know what I mean?
I watched Justin Fields in high school, and he played, at one of them like private high schools out here in Georgia. You'll see we get to go to some of these high school games. It'd be big games like college games. You be like, oh, these games packed. There's a lot of people out here. And they coming to see that one player. He was one of them players that everybody was coming out to see. Like, you know what I mean? Everybody from one side of town, if he was playing against an away team, like the whole city was there to see him play. And he was good, but when he got to college, like you said, man, he didn't really separate himself. I was more impressed by Trevor Lawrence's college resume than I was Justin Fields. But you talking about Daniel Jones, or who you talking about? Or Mac Jones? Which one? You said Daniel.
Oh no, Mac Jones. I was saying Mac Jones. He average at best. To me, I don't really see. I mean, especially not being if any other system besides New England, I don't think he gonna even do that well as he did last year.
So we'll see.
Yeah, so I don't really, especially with Josh Daniels gone. Josh Daniels a genius on the offensive coordinator side, so he pretty much got the best out of him he could get out of him. So I don't see him really doing too much better. I think they're gonna be grabbing up another quarterback in the next 2-3 years in New England, or whatever. And so and then we got who else we got?
Got Tua.
No, hell no.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I ain't no Tua fan either. And I don't know why Tyreek Hill came out and talking about Tua arm stronger than Mahomes and more accurate.
Man, he just trying to pump that man head up. He probably going back in the locker room like, man, what I got myself into? Well, I'm gonna have to do something about this, man. I can't admit that I was wrong. So I gotta make it look like I gotta go the opposite direction. I gotta go all the way left, on this one. Cause I can't tell everybody I was wrong. You know what I'm saying? I should stay in my butt, but I should took less money in Kansas City or something for this.
He's gonna be like T.O. on the sideline. Watch. He's gonna be like T.O. on the sideline.
Be fussing that man out when he don't get the ball when he wants
it. You watch. We already know.
So really, and then who else you got?
Well, we don't even know. I don't know what you expect from not the pivot, but San Francisco quarterback situation. You got Jimmy Garoppolo, who they say they're trying to trade, but then you got Trey Lance, who we ain't never seen before, but they saying in practice he ain't really that impressive. So I don't know.
I mean, if I was them, I would just keep going with Jimmy until otherwise, till the guy prove otherwise. What I don't like is people saying, well, just throw him out there and throw him to the wolves and see what he can do. But if he's not showing you enough in practice, I'm not. That'd be like if I'm writing, if I'm doing a screen, if I'm doing a play, and then I know at some point you got to go live and on Broadway, but you messing up the lines in practice. Well, I'm gonna be like, well, you know what? I'm trying to get rid of this dude over here because he ain't really bringing the ticket sales like that. But the dude over here, like he, at least when it's time to do the play, he know his lines, he show up, he do his thing, but it just ain't, resulting in the results we looking for. But this dude over here can't get the lines right. So I'm gonna throw him out there to let him fail. So I'm just like, no, like if you and Jimmy Garoppolo got you to the Super Bowl, he got you to the NFC Championship game. May not be the prettiest thing in the world you've seen, but he got you there. So my thing is keep Jimmy out there until this man prove otherwise. If he don't, then you trade him or you let him go because you ain't paying Trey Lance nothing. You ain't like you traded him. I don't even think you traded a bunch of picks to get him. I don't know how you ended up getting him.
Yeah, you did move. You did give up your first round for the next 2 years. You ain't got no first round pick for this. You didn't have one last year, and you don't have one the year coming up. So you gave up some capital to get him. So he need to pan out. But
but let's just say,
I'm gonna throw you out there. If you in practice throwing interception, I damn sure ain't gonna put you in the live game and do it.
But let's just say that he don't pan out. Let's just say they had to stick with Jimmy this year and next year. So let's say going into 2024, they get their first round draft pick back. I'll say, well, we back where we started again, but we got to get another quarterback. But at least you got a viable quarterback. Because see, think about it is the difference between when most teams in a situation where if they don't put their rookie out there or their young player, They don't have no quarterback behind it. They SOL. San Francisco not in an SOL situation. They're in a situation where they just got to make a decision on whether or not they're going to put him out there or not. But they're not in no SL situation because they still got Jimmy Garoppolo that's decent enough for you to keep playing them. You know what I'm saying? And you got a stout defense. You got a great offensive mind who know how to win games in your coach. You know what I'm saying? And you kept Debo. Now, if they would have lost Debo Samuels, then it would have been another story.
He ain't came to camp yet. Now, hold on. He ain't came to camp, or nor has he been paid.
He gonna come. He coming. Then them players kill me with that. I'm holding out. You holding out the game one. Then you be out there on the field. I ain't trying to hit it. They just be wanting to play no preseason games. So they be trying to play it off like, oh well, I ain't coming to camp. Whatever, you coming to camp game because you're not giving up that bread. No, they coming to camp game. You'll be that game. You know what I'm saying? And they're gonna be like, well, we're gonna continue good negotiations throughout the year. Okay, whatever. You coming. I ain't even trying. I don't buy that, bro. I've been hearing this for 20-something years of my life in football. You know what I'm saying? And every single
Bell's the only one who didn't really go, though. Now, Le'Veon Bell didn't show up. I said Le'Veon Bell might be the only one I know that didn't show up.
Yeah, you see how that worked out for him. He been pretty much been bouncing around the league ever since. You know what I'm saying? To the point where now he got to be a professional boxer. So, you know what I'm saying? Which don't make no sense. You don't went from one trauma situation to another trauma situation. Now you're gonna want to go get hit in the head.
Oh,
so you trying to be 45, 50 years old and be sitting around at talking about you see dead people.
Like Ali. He'll be like Ali.
Yeah, so bro, you better go sit down somewhere. Go get you a real estate license or something. You know what I'm saying? Stop. How you gonna go from football to boxing? You know what I'm saying? You trying to kill yourself. But anyway, man, no, man, I ain't falling for it. But yeah, I mean, yeah, that's what I say. Top 5 quarterbacks in the league. That's what I would look. That's how I would look at it. That would be my top 5.
I think the only thing I would have swapped out from yours was I might have moved Russell Wilson out of there for Justin Herbert. But that 5th spot, man, I could easily put Wilson, Burrow, because my top 4 were Mahomes, Allen, Brady, and Herbert. But 5, I mean, man, you go Lamar, you can go Aaron Rodgers, you can go Russell Wilson, you can go Deshaun Watson if he not being freaky. Kyler Murray, Stafford, Joe Burrow. It's a lot of different places you can go. But I know we ain't going with Dak. I know that.
Nah, ain't going with no Dak. Nah, right now he got to show me something this year, man. He really do. Shoot.
We ain't going with that.
Shoot. Well, I guess that's really about it, man, for the day, man. Shoot. Man. We kind of chopped it up about some things or whatever. We could leave the rest of the conversation we had a whole crew on.
Yeah, definitely.
For the rest of the conversations on Wednesday night, maybe we can get into some more of like top 5 wide receivers this year.
It's time to come on out with them lists because, like you said, we're gonna come back in the middle of the year, man, and compare them. That's why I wrote down your list and I wrote down mine. I think I wrote down you had Mahomes, you had Allen, Brady, Russell Wilson, and then your 5th was Burrow, right?
I put Burrow 4. I put Burrow 4. I've been a Burrow fan from LSU. I love Burrow game. I know everybody looking like, oh, he had Jamar Chase and he had what's the name? What's the man's name? Jefferson. Yeah, Jefferson out there in Minnesota. I'm like, but if I said if you watch him play, he can play. You know what I'm saying? It ain't about just the weapons. I almost feel like to a certain degree he make them just as good as they make him. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever.
Yeah. I think you're gonna see that this year with Pat Mahomes, man. I think, like I said, you don't have time to do that fantasy football, but man, I be knee deep in that thing, and I'm definitely gonna try to get that wide receiver out of Kansas City, the one that they drafted in that 1st round. Who's your 5th icon? Who you had at 5?
I said I'm gonna give Russell Wilson. I'm gonna get an old school dog some love. So Russell Wilson. I'm gonna put him in 5th to say
Okay.
To say I'm gonna give him an opportunity to redeem himself because I know Russell Wilson is not falling off that bad. It's no way. Now you know what? I take that back. I'm gonna give him a chance. I'm gonna make him honorable mention.
Who you
I'm gonna
got?
still put because I said this using my feelings instead of what's really going on in the field. I'm gonna still have to put Aaron Rodgers in the top 5. You got to put the MVP in the top 5. I got to give that man his respect, and so I'm gonna put Aaron Rodgers in the top 5. I got to give that man his respect until he showed me he can't play. He can play without, and he's played with average like to good receivers. So Devontae Adams don't really necessarily make him or break him. So I'm gonna put Aaron Rodgers still in there because think about Aaron Rodgers. I ain't never seen nothing like this where you go like 3 straight seasons and you threw like 6 interceptions or something crazy. Like I
I'm
ain't never
telling
seen that. That's ridiculous. You know what I'm
you.
saying?
And he
So
throwing 40 touchdowns. Ain't like he throwing 6 interceptions and 15 touchdowns. No, he throwing 40 touchdowns and throwing 3 interceptions a season, 2
yeah,
interceptions.
exactly. So it's ridiculous. So and he's still that his accuracy and arm talent is ain't too many players could. It's like I put when it comes to arm talent, I put all time of what I've ever seen in life watching football. Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, and that's just if you just say accuracy. Now I could say other people that had crazy talent like a Brett
Yeah,
Favre, but he threw a lot of interceptions.
yeah.
But Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, Dan Marino.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Oh,
Um,
yeah. Dan can spin it. Oh yeah, yeah. I don't think I ever seen nobody better arm than Dan.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Trying to think who else I could say. I'm trying to do a top 5, but that's the top 3. That's the 3 that come on top of my head. It may be more people gonna like, you forgot this person, you forgot that person, but them the 3 that kind of come to my head off top. Their arm talent was just beyond ridiculous with the accuracy. You know what I'm saying? To be able to throw that ball 50 yards and like that one year when Green Bay beat I think it was Dallas in the playoffs when
Oh
Aaron
man,
Rodgers threw the ball
that pass
across
he
the
threw at
field on the
the
sideline.
end.
And I
Yeah,
was like that. Oh, and I ain't gonna lie, Deshaun Watson, his
yeah. He got
arm
some.
talent
He
and
talent too.
accuracy is
Yeah,
crazy
yeah,
too.
yeah.
Deshaun Watson, I just seen Deshaun Watson throw some passes. I'll be like, golly, God in the world. So Deshaun Watson, he got them skill. He might be that might be the most underrated thing about his game is he got
Arm
some
talent. Yeah.
accuracy on his balls. You know what I'm saying?
Watson
So
easy top 5, man. If he, like I said, he got to stop
oh
being freaky.
yeah,
If he
Watson
ain't
was
freaky,
top
Watson,
3
he good.
before he went out. Watson to me was the 3rd best quarterback in the league, and then the league was saying that he was at least he put it like this when before Watson got in trouble, it was Brady, Aaron Rodgers, and Deshaun Watson was at least if he wasn't 3, he was at least in the top 5.
Yeah, I
He
agree.
was at least in the top 5. So I think if he's still
With no
young.
man, he did that without a wide receiver. Remember, they took D Hop away from him.
Yeah, because even his last year when they sucked and was terrible, he was still putting up big numbers.
Yep, he threw
You know?
35-3, 35-6, or something like that.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So he I will put him right there too as far as a quarterback with the accuracy and that arm talent to throw the ball down the field. You know what I'm saying, like that. So, but anyway, man, I'm about to close this thing out for
that's
the
a
day.
very
And I'm saying, and because what you just said, I want to hear that you would talk about. Like, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? So.